to correct an impression that you sought to create in your earlier submission, that the NDC has no strategy of implementing its manifesto promises. Clearly.
I didn't say that. Don't misquote me.
So what did you say?
I said that in your manifesto, both parties, NPP and NDC, are full of promises, and there is no clear strategy. In the manifesto, I did not say that you did not have a strategy. If you had, I'm referring to your manifesto. Quote me, please. Quote me well.
Sometimes, Nana.
No. I want you to quote me well.
When you are quoting me. You can still shake off the obsession or desire to be invited by the New Patriotic Party, especially when you're on this platform, and try as much as possible to be candid in your submissions.
That is your perception. No,
yes, that is my view. That is my opinion.
That is your view, which is wrong.
I hold strongly to it.
But let me which is wrong. No, you don't put that out there. No, Hamza, please.
You know I'll not
gladly let this one pass.
So you don't want to go back.
You don't make
sense. You don't want to go back.
No, but he does not make personal attributions to untruth when it comes to my person.
What is untrue?
It is that I have a desire. You know what a desire is?
Of course, I know you do. That is
you can define a desire. You cannot
have an issue with my opinion.
Can we draw a line under this?
Let me proceed. I'm sure that our viewers have been monitoring you for some time now. But I can assure you that, yes, I'm pretty much convinced. They know where your passion is.
Of course, I used to be in that party.
But you see, so if there's nothing wrong for you to
about it
but you see,
and I am making a statement,
are you going to allow me to make my point?
When you make untruth, you will not be allowed to let you go.
When you are churning around truth, I listen to you because one fundamental principle around this table is for us to allow each other to be able to express our views.
But you don't attribute untruth to my person when I'm sitting.
But you attribute untruth to the NDC.
Well,
I'm here because of
so you define it.
So first of all,
let's move on, please.
It is falsehood to say that the NDC has no strategy in this manifesto. Clearly, you have not read the manifesto of the NDC. A manifesto that has indicated that it is going to establish an Export Acceleration Development Council to ensure that we bring the country up to speed in terms of our desire to increase our exports and bring in foreign direct exchange. You say that is not a strategy enshrined in the NDC manifesto? A manifesto that tells you about the establishment of a gold board to bring some sanity to our gold sector and ensure that we strategically position it to be able. We strategically position gold board to be able to ensure that it contributes meaningfully to our economic recovery program that is contained in our manifesto. You say you have not seen it? And a manifesto that diagnosed a problem with our agricultural sector and made references to the effect that when it comes to our poultry industry, we are what's the name? Spending in excess of about 2 million annually to import poultry exports, and for which reason we are introducing the Poultry Farm to Table initiative to be able to curtail that particular challenge. You say that is not a strategy? So you see, if you do not read, and if you are not interested in the politics of other political parties, and you are simply only tied in a loophole, fixated on what you termed as a manifesto that you have presented on behalf of your flag bearer. These are some of the funny mistakes. These are some of the funny mistakes you make.
So please.
These are some of the funny mistakes you make. So this is a very serious platform. And it is okay to criticize the National Democratic Congress, but we must do so with some level of appreciation of what we stand for and what we actually presented in our manifesto. Because people are learning, are going to learn from us, and there are those who are listening to us, watching us now, who know better than us, even when it comes to the manifestos we presented. So we must be guided. The John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, would not lead a party to present policies to the good people of this country without telling them how those policies would be achieved. That is not the kind of leader we have. And that is why we do not have that leadership paralysis doctors made references to. And just finally, on the politics of the NPP, so that we can move to the more pertinent issues.
Indeed.
I agree with Doc completely when he indicated that the problem with the NPP today has to do with leadership. Unfortunately for the NPP, you see, at the national executive level of the New Patriotic Party, they are found wanting. They went into Congress in government and elected all kinds of people, including their current General Secretary, who clearly do not have, it has been proven that they do not have the mettle to lead. So at that level, the party level, there's a huge vacuum from the national chairman to the last man standing. Huge vacuum. Mostly when there is such a vacuum in the politics of a political party, you rely on the former flag bearer to fill in that void. That is why after 2008 presidential elections, when Nana Addo lost the election and there was even still a vacuum at the party level, that internal wrangling, Nana Addo was that towering figure where the party members revolved around. So there was no need for an early Congress, because even though everybody knew that, it was clear that even if Nana Addo had gone for elections the next day, Nana Addo would win. So people were still trying to rally around him. So there was no need for him to rush for an early Congress.
Right.
So he filled that leadership void. Today, there's a huge leadership void in the New Patriotic Party. Unfortunately, the flag bearer himself is not carved out as a leader. Here I make reference to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
I was going to say there's no flag bearer as yet. You mean
yes,
the
yes.
past
So the
flag bearer?
past flag bearer. Thank you, Helen, for that correction. He himself does not have what it takes to be that magnet of attraction, to instill that level of confidence. That authority is not there. We are dealing with a man who is so meek and weak and is struggling to find his bearing even within the politics of the New Patriotic Party. He is canvassing for acceptance. He's not accepted even after 16 years of supporting and sacrificing for the New Patriotic Party. So he himself has an issue of acceptance around his neck. So you see, there's that leadership vacuum. And no matter what they do, I sincerely do not see how they can rise above that challenge. The only way out is for them to open up their ranks, elect a leader, and I can assure you that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would not be that leader to fill that leadership vacuum in the politics of the NDC.
You say the NDC is not quaking in its boots?
Absolutely not. But if they bring Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia 1,000 times, the NDC will beat Dr. Mahmoud 1,000 times, but we will not be complacent. Because I always make reference to the fact that they took us for granted. Because Ghanaians voted against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in 2016, they told the whole nation that there was no way now His Excellency President Mahama could ever become president again. Today, His Excellency President Mahama is president. We would be guided by that history.
Thank you so much.
Despite the fact that we gave him a crushing defeat, we would be too careful to make such pronouncements and say that Ghanaians would never give him the opportunity to lead. But on daily basis, we would convince the Ghanaian people by the work that we would do as a government why there wouldn't be the need for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to be brought back to the presidency.
Thank you, Hamza,
and I can assure you that.
For your thoughts on
Helen,
this particular one.